evening. Please remain standing as Rachel Ives, a graduating senior in our musical theater program, leads us in singing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Rachel. You may be seated. Again, good evening. Thank you. It's a small, friendly crowd. So, I am Dr. Diane Lynch, and I am the president of Stevens College. And on behalf of the faculty, the staff, and the administration, it's my great pleasure to welcome you this afternoon to the commencement exercises for the Stevens College class of 2022 in our graduate and online degree programs. And that's an applause line. Yes. I'd like to start by taking a moment to recognize the active duty military and veterans among us today. I would ask that all of the veterans and military personnel here with us please stand so we can thank you for your service. Thank you. We're going to begin our formal program by allowing me to introduce the members of our platform party. Dr. Leslie Willey, who's the Vice President for Academic Affairs and who you will hear from shortly. Dr. Merrill Sapp, the Assistant Professor of our Physician Assistant Studies and our commencement speaker. Anita Perrin and Celissa Uriarte-Smith, both members of our Board of Trustees. And I want you to feel incredibly honored because our trustees don't always attend our commencements, but they are here this evening and tomorrow to honor you. And Dr. Monica McMurray, the Professor of Fashion and Faculty Chair, who is serving as our Head Marshal. I'd also like to thank our remarkable and committed staff, including the Commencement Committee, and in particular, Lita Pistono in my office, who's the woman in charge of the planning and logistics for these uniquely complicated and special proceedings. Please join me in acknowledging these remarkable members of our Stevens community. And finally, and perhaps most important, I ask that you join me in acknowledging and celebrating our families, birth, adopted, extended, associated, and every other kind. You are the extraordinary people whose support and love have made it possible for these graduates to be here at this very special moment of accomplishment in their lives. This weekend is a particularly important time for us to stop and acknowledge the role and the importance of our mothers and our grandmothers, including those in our graduating class, as well as those in our audience. Please join me in thanking them for actually making everything else possible. Yay, mothers. And now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Leslie Willey, the Vice President for Academic Affairs, to the podium.
is fitting that we honor our distinguished faculty today. The Stephens College faculty have an immense impact on the lives of students, as professors, as mentors, as advisors, and as friends. Each of our faculty has made significant contributions to the college, to their profession, and to the thousands of students they have taught over the years. Would the faculty please stand and be recognized? One faculty member whose ongoing dedication to providing exceptional academic and clinical training to their students and demonstrates excellence in the areas of teaching, advising, and mentorship was selected to receive the 2022 Distinguished Graduate Faculty Award. I would like to especially recognize Dr. Meryl Sapp. Dr. Sapp is an assistant professor and director of research for our Physician Assistant Studies program in the School of Health Sciences. It is also my pleasure to introduce a faculty member who demonstrates excellence in service to Stephens College and the broader community. The recipient of the 2022 Graduate Program Service Award is Leslie Norris. Ms. Norris is an assistant professor in the Physician Assistant Studies program in the School of Health Sciences. Please join me in congratulating Leslie. Finally, I would like to recognize the contributions of the program directors, Dr. Dan Kissinger, director of the counseling program, Dr. Roseanne Welch, director of the MFA in television and screenwriting program, and Dr. Megan Blakemore, director of the physician assistance program, and also our deans, Dr. Julia Moffitt, dean of the School of Health Sciences, and Jennifer Hemphill, dean of the Conservatory for the Performing Arts. These academic leaders provide vision, direction, and support to the faculty and students at Stephens College. Please stand to be recognized. We have a tradition at Stephens College that the recipient of our Distinguished Faculty Award is also our commencement speaker. So no good deed goes unpunished. Like many of you, our best traditions here at Stephens, it's an idea that come from our students who ask the faculty member they have identified as outstanding to be the person to share a few final words of wisdom. And tonight, I can't think of anybody better suited for that privilege than today's commencement speaker, Dr. Meryl Sapp. Dr. Sapp is an assistant professor for our Physician Assistant Studies program and the recipient of our Distinguished Graduate Faculty Award. Dr. Sapp's clinical experience includes neurosurgery and family medicine, and somehow, between rotations and teaching and serving our students so well, Dr. Sapp remains an avid and highly competitive cyclist who was a collegiate road cycling national champion during her PhD program at New Mexico State University. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Meryl Sapp to the podium.
Hi. I hope you all are feeling really good right now because you deserve it, so congratulations, in case I forget to say that at the end. So I have some questions for you, okay? So they're actually for everyone. So I'm gonna go through some questions, and it's sort of a vote, but you can vote for as many as you want, so so no pressure, okay? So our students actually helped me to come up with these questions. The physician assistant students helped me. So first question, what did you do for fun with your family and friends during COVID lockdown? Okay, so I have some categories, okay? So first one is just go outside and go for a walk. Who's gonna vote for that one? Yeah? Okay, good. Do we have any cyclists in the room? Yes? Okay, very good. What about running? Okay, all right, good. So am I missing any major important outdoor activities that anybody? No? Okay. So what about cooking or baking? Would anybody choose that as their number one? Okay. You know, like I said, you can vote for as many as you want, right? And board games? Family board games? Yes. And so, like I said, our students helped me with this, and 2 of them got puppies during the, did anybody get a puppy? I know you did. Oh, okay. All right, good. Second question. This really is for the graduates, but what is something special your parents did for you to support you as a student? Okay, and you can feel free to yell things out if you want to, but our students mostly said food things. So like, yes, raiding the pantry, raiding the fridge, something like that. Yeah, cooking. None of our students mentioned money, which I think perhaps was an oversight for some of them, but I mean not all of them. But one student said that now when she goes to visit over this last year, her mother lets the dog sleep in the bed with her, which she hates. But anyway, I mean the mother hates that. The student doesn't hate. Am I missing anything big? No? Okay. All right. Okay, this is a tricky one. What is something positive that you learned or changed as a result of the pandemic? So I got all kinds of answers on this one. There wasn't like a theme. Some people said resilience or something like that. Anyone want to pick that one? No? Nobody? Okay. For me, it was Zoom. I learned who has used Zoom now? Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah. So we have used, and I now use Zoom to play games with my friends who are far away, and I don't see them very much anymore. So I'd say this is a good thing, right? That I have a love-hate relationship with Zoom for sure. I mean, but anyway, I'd say that it's a good skill. Okay, last question. How are you going to celebrate your graduation, or the end of the semester, but for you, graduation? So there was, again, a lot of food involved in this question, a lot of dinner. So everyone in the room, who's going out to dinner tonight? Yes? Okay, me too. Yes? Yeah? Okay. All right. What about trips? Anybody going like on a road trip for graduation? Yes. What about an international trip? Oh, a few? Okay, very cool. We have one student getting married, some family events, things like that are important. Okay, well, thank you for indulging me and participating in the questions. I appreciate that. So I had been thinking about what you graduates, what you have in common. So we have here counselors, we have health information administration, health information management, and the Master of Fine Arts students. So I decided that what you have in common is stories. You are the keepers of other people's stories. So as counselors, clearly you're going to be listening to the stories of other people's lives, right? And then in health information and medical records, probably a lot of people don't think of those as stories, but we do. Medical professionals think of those as stories. That's the story of how this person came to be here today, came to need me, right? And then the MFA students. Clearly you are the voice for other people's stories. But it's not just stories, it's the stories of the vulnerable, right? People who are seeking help in some way, or people who don't have a voice of their own, who need help expressing their voice. So that's a very powerful thing. So that's why I asked you to or at least participate in those questions, right? I wanted to know a little bit more about you, for you to tell me something about yourself. I would have liked to ask each of you individually about those questions, but obviously I couldn't do that, right? So the point is that when you learn something personal about somebody else, they become a little more fully formed as an individual to you, right? So your stories not only tell us who you are and how you got here, but they increase our empathy, right? When you hear a person's story, it increases your empathy. And this is key because we need more of that, right? So Maya Angelou said that about creativity, that the more you use, the more you have, and I think the same thing is true of empathy, right? When you really listen to another person's story and try to understand it from their perspective, you make more empathy from that. So it's this positive feedback loop. So when we listen and share, it's not that hard to find common ground among us, right? There are some universal truths. So we don't like being stuck inside and feeling like we don't have control over what's happening to us, right? Having supportive parents is really important. When we've been through something awful, hopefully we can learn something from it and take something positive from it, right? And sometimes it's just time to celebrate, which it is for you today, time to celebrate. So there is a lot of power in being the protector of other people's stories. And it's not always glamorous work, right? So you haven't chosen professions where you'll necessarily be in the spotlight and getting lots of recognition for what you're doing, necessarily. But I want you to know that I recognize it. And everyone in this room, we recognize how important it is, these choices that you've made. And I appreciate it. It's a big responsibility, but that's why you've worked so hard to be here today. And so I congratulate you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dr. Sapp. Next, I'm pleased to introduce our class speaker, a graduate receiving a Master of Fine Arts in Television and Screenwriting, Heather Moore. Heather is a self-described rebellious pastor's wife who writes TV and podcasts that show the power of human connection in the darkest of circumstances. A screenwriter, commentator, and podcast producer, Heather co-created the film discussion podcast, Your Movie Hour, and How the Church Works. She currently lives in the greater Los Angeles area with her husband, Johnny, a Seventh-day Adventist pastor. Before Heather comes to the podium, I would ask that her family please stand and be recognized. Heather, it's my honor to welcome you to the podium.
Hello, everybody. My fellow graduates, we have made it to the finish line. We may be tired, sweaty, a little chafed, and in desperate need of an ice bath and a massage, but we are here. We ran this marathon, and this moment is hard-earned. Some of us here today are undergraduates, and some of us are graduate school students, but all of us have made the choice to be here. We didn't have to be here. Doing higher education is a little bit like life extra credit. But instead of just getting an A+ in the class of life, our reward is a caffeine addiction. And that we have been challenged, shaped, and forced to grow. Our reward is the journey itself. I could stand up here and talk about how resilient we are, and we are. I want to take a moment to recognize that. We juggled full-time work, relationships, kids, but also a pandemic, aging parents, natural disasters, chemotherapy, school shootings, threats to our human rights, loss, love, and so many other life responsibilities while we were in our programs. And look, somehow, despite a few breakdowns along the way, we're here. But all of us had moments during this time where we were sick of being resilient, sick of being strong, of juggling it all, of getting out of bed anyway on those hard, hard days, sick of extracting more hours from the day than should be mathematically, scientifically, and existentially possible. Sick of looking in the mirror and wondering how such an imposter got this far without anyone noticing. And very sick of historical event after historical event happening when you're just trying to get that assignment in before midnight, darn it. It's okay to be sick of being resilient. It's okay to want to quit. That moment is called the dark night of the soul. And in screenwriting, this is the moment where the protagonist feels the weight of everything. And right now, our world feels very heavy. But our choice to pursue our education at this moment, it tells us something about our character. We started this journey because we recognize that we are part of a story that is bigger than ourselves. It's hope. And that story is bigger than our breakdowns, bigger than pandemics, insurrections, force majeures, and world wars. And we each have an important role to play. Author Margaret Atwood said, "A word after a word after a word is power." Not all of us here today are writers, but all of us have something true to speak into the world. And sometimes we need to speak that truth to ourselves, because often we are our own worst critics, our own harshest voice, our whisper of failure. When we leave Stevens, we will continue to face difficult seasons, personally, professionally, and societally. And within a few weeks, we probably won't remember much of what was said here today, but if you do remember something, remember this: when the world around you is falling apart, give yourself a little grace. Give yourself permission to be human. Then keep going. One word, then another word, then another. Friends, family, faculty, and graduates of Stevens College, class of 2022, I leave you with these final words. To quote Reese Witherspoon in the 2001 award-winning prestige legal drama, Legally Blonde, "We did it!"
Thank you, Heather, and congratulations. As Vice President for Academic Affairs, it is my pleasure to present today's candidates for degrees. Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Science in Health Information Administration please stand and be recognized? You can sit down. You can sit down again. Thanks. Will the candidates for Master of Education please stand and be recognized? And will the candidates for Master of Fine Arts please stand and be recognized? Will the candidates for Master of Science please stand and be recognized? Then, Assistant Professor Brett Olson will announce each candidate who crosses the stage to receive a diploma. Graduates with blue and white cords signify membership in the Pinnacle Honor Society, the honor society for non-traditional students. Before Assistant Professor Olson begins, I ask that all candidates for degrees stand so that President Lynch may confer your individual degrees. President Lynch, on behalf of the faculty, I present these candidates for conferring of the degrees.
So this really is the moment. By the authority of the state of Missouri, given to the trustees of Stevens College, and entrusted to me by them, I hereby award to you, upon recommendation of the faculty, the degrees that you have earned during the course of your studies at Stevens College, with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining, in token whereof you shall be given diplomas. Graduates, you may now move your tassels from right to left. Please join me in congratulating the graduating class of 2022.
Oh, you can do better than that. Yeah.
please be seated and come to the stage as your name is called.
Jordan Elizabeth Holtzclaw, Bachelor of Science in Health Information Administration, magna cum laude. Thank you. Erica Robinson Thomas, Bachelor of Science in Health Information Administration. Madison Elizabeth Burke, Master of Education in Counseling.
I just have to say, Madison just was awarded the 7th Stevens College degree in her family. So, right.
Lorena Jean Hardman, Master of Education in Counseling. Taylor Marguerite Humble, Master of Education in Counseling. Rebecca Jill Phillips, Master of Education in Counseling. Heather Lynn Moore, Master of Fine Arts in TV and Screenwriting. Michelle O'Connor Daigle, Master of Fine Arts in TV and Screenwriting. Elif Fatima Gorkin, Master of Fine Arts in TV and Screenwriting. Hadley Margaret Huck, Master of Fine Arts in TV and Screenwriting. Donna Marie Mosley, Master of Fine Arts in TV and Screenwriting. Stephanie Lynn Nelson, Master of Fine Arts in TV and Screenwriting. Melissa Mel Richardson, Master of Fine Arts in TV and Screenwriting. Nikia Woods, Master of Fine Arts in TV and Screenwriting. Excuse me, Nakia. Thank you, Nakia Woods, Master of Fine Arts in TV and Screenwriting. Emily Lorraine Graham, Master of Science in Health Information Management. Dana A. Williams, Master of Science in Health Information Management.
Okay, one more time, everybody. Let's give it up for the class of 2022. Okay, so there are so many amazing benefits of being the president of Stevens College. One is that I never get parking tickets on campus. No joke, right? Another is that I have found the kind of job that I urge you all to insist upon, one that challenges, inspires, exhausts, and enriches me every single day, one that is my life's work. And third is that I get to be one of the people who speak with you today. I'm supposed to give you a charge and to send you off with great words of wisdom And as Heather said, you probably aren't going to remember anything that anybody said today, but I'm going to do my best. It's supposed to be a lasting insight that resonates with every single one of you. And that, as you could imagine, is kind of a daunting assignment, given who you are. I'm actually tempted to just say, yeah, what Heather said, and then just go sit down, right? Which I could, because what I have in my prepared remarks sounds like just a different version of what Heather said, but she's funnier than me. And she knows you better, some of you. So maybe great minds do think alike, and maybe there really is no new story under the sun, screenwriters. It's how you tell it. There are different takes on a singular theme, so I'm going to share mine with you. And here we go, you did it, right? You did it. You're done with grad school, at least for now. You've just been awarded the degrees. As I say, I always emphasize that you've earned them. It's not a gift. Nobody gave these to you. It's a gift. No. Yes, to yourself. First thing you need to do is take a break. I love that you're going to travel. I'm all about spas. Ice bath, not so much. Okay, whatever it is. Relish the fact that you are no longer waking up at 3:20 a.m. and thinking, I should get up and do my homework, right? So roll over, go back to sleep, and dream about what the future now holds for you. Second thing I would suggest that you do, as somebody who went back to graduate school when I was 42 years old, had 4 children between the ages of 6 months and 18, and a full-time job. Dedicate 2 weeks of some period in the near future to paying back those who love you and supported you and made your success possible. And I don't mean with cash, though they probably take it. Not even with gifts or words or dinners out, although all of those are good choices. I mean with attention. I mean with focus and listening and laughing at their jokes and staying off your phone whenever they're in the room. 2 weeks. It's a long time. But you owe them that, right? And they miss you like crazy. As humans, we have this not so great habit of saving our worst for the people who love us most. I always used to say, you're nicer to the person that you meet on the bus, even though my children don't take the bus, than perhaps to your sibling. And it's because they love us and they forgive us for our sins and our omissions. And they will. But that doesn't mean they couldn't use a little tender loving care after all of your late nights and maybe even some missed family moments. The most valuable gift you have is your time and your attention. Nothing else comes close. So I suggest, advise, think it'd be a great idea. And if you decide not to do it, at least remember to put away your phones and make unfaltering eye contact with those you love most. It will make them so nervous, but they will come to appreciate it, and they will never forget it, right? And finally, last piece of advice, channeling Heather. Don't stop learning. And I don't mean the kind of learning that happens while you're doing everything else. I mean real focused, on purpose, it takes time learning. Actually, real learning is a lot like exercising. You can tell me all day long that you walk 10,000 steps, really, around the office, or you chase your toddlers around the house, and you never, ever, ever take the elevator at work, in which case I really don't want to be around you, or ride those moving sidewalks at the airport, and who doesn't ride the moving sidewalks? Right, they're also self-righteous as I go by them on the moving sidewalks. But that's not the same as going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, and it's or doing hot yoga if you happen to thrive on absolute and intense physical misery. Have you done that? It's like, what? Or walking briskly for an hour uninterrupted. By way of full disclosure, I have a very bad habit of buying running shoes every couple years because that automatically makes me a runner. Seriously? I know, yeah. And I did join Wilson's gym at one point, and the 1 hour I actually went there cost hundreds of dollars. So I can't talk too much about exercise, but I have a lot to offer when it comes to being a perpetual learner. I'm going to give you, I know, a list, I know. And you do this when you're making a speech so that people don't think, oh God, how many of these are there? And so there's 5, but they're quick. So when I get to about 3, you're not gonna be like, okay, how many more? Because you'll know 2, but they're quick, okay? Number 1, take a book with you wherever you go. It can be on your phone, it can be on Kindle, it could be actually like in paper. Wouldn't that be great? Right. And instead of getting on your phone when you have a few minutes in between meetings or sitting wherever you are or at the coffee shop or whatever, instead of checking your messages or scanning Instagram again, spend the time reading. Because if you don't do that, you'll end the year having laughed at one of those ridiculous TikTok dance videos or feeling all really fuzzy about an Instagram puppy video or picture, and so what? Seriously, is that making you a better person? No, it's not. Instead, commit to reading 1 book a month. 1 book a month. Any book, as long as it's got words in it, and more than like 20 pages, right? The kind that has like 3 words in a page and you turn it. Somebody said to me, I love this book. Every chapter is just like a page. Really? Like as a writer, what do you get done in a page? Anyway, commit to reading a book a month, 12 books a year. At the end of that year, you will be so much more interesting than talking to people about, have you seen this TikTok video? Second, find smart people and hang around with them. Faculty are the smart people you've been hanging around with. That's what you've been doing. Think how much you've enjoyed it, right? Well, the world is full of really smart people who are also interested in hanging around with smart people. So make it a point to go find them. Maybe you have to join something. Don't hang around at the library. That's not good. But go out and find smart people to surround yourself with. And if you can't find them right away, you know the faculty will be happy to hear from you. Third, teach. We learn by teaching. We do. You're now among the most educated people on the planet. What have you learned that you can share? Maybe it's discipline-based. Maybe it's about resilience and, and ambition and grit. The Girl Scouts, the Boys and Girls Club, your own kids all need to know what you know. So find some time to share it with them. 4, commit to learning something you really don't know how to do, and if it makes you really uncomfortable, that's better. After I got out of graduate school, I took tap dancing lessons. And I am terrible at tap dancing. Terrible. I'm good at 1 step at a time, but when you put them together, I overthink it. But I love the shoes. Get on outlier.org. If you don't know outlier.org, you should know outlier.org. And take a philosophy class, really cheap, taught by some of the most brilliant faculty in the world. Or masterclass. The same people who did masterclass now do outlier.org. It's amazing. Or learn Spanish. You really should learn Spanish. It's like a really good thing to know, and it is, I shouldn't say this because I've been learning Spanish for years. But it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you do it, I say. 1 shuffle ball change, that's tap dance talk, or como está at a time. And last, find a life's work, one that feeds your brain and your heart and your soul. They're out there. Just look at me. I am working right now. I've been president of Stevens College for 13 years, and I came here having never heard of Stevens College before from New York, Missouri. My husband was like, Missouri? And every day is a new commitment and a new adventure, and it's never been a job, not for 1 single day. You deserve that, and you need to go looking for it. In short, you've achieved an accomplishment that only such a small number of people in the world have ever accomplished. And my charge to you today is to consider it not the pinnacle of your educational career, but the foundation of a lifetime of learning. I can't get through this without a quote. Abraham Lincoln once said, "I don't think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday." I always advise my team and students, don't decide early. Because if you're getting smarter every day like you're supposed to, you should really wait to the last minute to make a decision. Those of us who are deadline driven, that works for us. But the fact of the matter is it's true. And that said, today you're smart enough. Today I ask that you decide that you're going to be wiser tomorrow than you are today, and that you stay committed to that every day for as long as you live. Because that's what it means to be a lifelong learner, and that's what it means to be a Stevens graduate. Congratulations. As we close, Savannah Portillo and Rainey Case will lead us in singing the Stevens hymn. And now that you are Stevens alumna, you are required to sing the Stevens hymn at these events. The words are on the back of your program, and it's okay if you just move your mouth. It's all right, but you need to at least participate because you are Stevens alumna. Thank you very much. I ask that the audience remain at your seats while our graduates, no longer students, while the graduates have processed out. Congratulations. Thank you for being Stevens.